Retail Week is brought to you by Nutrisphere N, Nitrogen Fertilizer Manager, protecting your nitrogen from all three forms of loss.
Hello, welcome to a special edition of CropLife Retail Week. I'm Eric Sfiligoj here this week with a special guest, Greg Musan from Gar Tootelian in California. Greg, welcome and thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. If you could, for our viewer audience, tell us a little more about Gar Tootelian, your company, and what you specialize in and do in the marketplace.
We're a retailer out of the Fresno area of California, sit up against the hills, and been around since 1949. I've been working at Gar about 30 years now, and my job is general manager, and I'm also president and CEO for Gar. And Gar primary business is permanent crop, and that would be trees and vines and citrus and we do quite a bit today of row crop type stuff, onions and garlic and things of that nature in there. We have 40 PCAs, and they probably handle in the range of 150 to 200 crops in total.
Very good. Now, I know your facility, too, you've been doing some upgrades and improvements as well. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Sure. Yeah, no, we've been doing a lot of upgrades over the past, I think our first completion was an office complex. It's about 9,200 square feet that we added, and that was finished in 2011. And then in 2014, we added a brand spanking new tank farm and a blending facility.
How big?
Well, it's scheduled for 1 million gallons, but we actually should be able to do a couple million gallons out of that facility, which for us is plenty. We don't sit on rails, so everything comes in by truck. So, and then last year we finished with a 55,000 square foot warehouse for packaged goods, and then we took our old facilities and those warehouses we converted over into shop areas. So we've got about 15,000 square feet of shop on top of that. So about 60,000 square feet of storage for packaged goods and 15,000 square feet of shop space now. So.
Okay. And I know, reading about your company a little bit more, I know you do quite a bit in the community in terms of outreach. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, we do quite a bit. Our local talk radio show station is KMJ Radio, and we're on that 8 times a day during the week. And we really talk about, in California, a lot of people just don't understand agriculture at all. So we spend a lot of time talking about agriculture. Community involvement revolves around, trying to educate people again on what agriculture is all about. A lot of people just don't understand it, and so we try to spend our money towards education on a lot of things. Agriculture is an area but not really exciting, maybe for a lot of people in college, and so we've been trying to spend a lot of time talking to the college types about becoming part of the agricultural community. We're trying to bring high-tech industry into Fresno. I actually own interests in several software companies, and the purpose on that is trying to bring, again, agriculture into the high-tech mode. We do our own software ourselves, and that software we're upgrading currently, and into where we can use mobile phones and that type of things to access information. We've always been a pretty heavily report-driven data type company anyway, so we want to see more of that brought into our neck of the woods.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, after this short break, we'll continue to talk with Greg a little bit more about agriculture in California in particular.
Over the 9+ years, they've done over 400 trials, side-by-side replicated trials, and we've shown that 90% of the time we've had a positive yield response with Nutrisphere. So 90% of the time a crop producer out of those 400+ trials could expect a positive response. That positive response is average 10 bushel an acre across all 400+ trials.
So welcome back. We're still here with Greg. Greg, I know our folks in the audience may not be familiar with California agriculture in particular, but I know, we've heard about things, water issues and some resistance to agriculture in general in the state. But tell me, in your mind, what's the biggest challenge right now in 2017 that you as an ag retailer are having to deal with in the state, and how is Gar Tootelian addressing that?
Well, regulatory activity is probably the biggest concern we have. Water this year, I would have normally said water to start it out. We've been in a man-made drought now for several years. I know we had a drought, don't get me wrong, but it's been aggravated by, government running water into the ocean for no reason, right? They supposedly were doing it for fish, and then I think they actually ended up drowning the fish because they can't find any of these fish anymore. So, regulatory without doubt has been just an ongoing battle. In the valley there, it's air. The Air Resource Board has been extremely active, issuing fines. We've got the EPA. We've got a brand new facility. I'm gonna have a $32,000 fine from the EPA over bookwork.
Oh my gosh!
It literally 5-gallon cans that weren't labeled 5 gallons, and this fine is I'm not looking forward to it. Right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to have a fine here. Not something I'm proud of, but extremely active, and a lot of it is just fundraising efforts from the state of California. New taxes, new fees, new regulations. I think last year California had 1,000 new laws enacted, and it's tough operating in that environment. It's really tough. You really have to almost pick and choose what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And we really do work hard to try to do it all. But like I said, on a new facility, we need to invite more government regulators in to probably spend time going through it. We're going to do more of that here. I can see that in the future, and inviting OSHA in and that type of thing. So we do a lot of work with our current customers on OSHA. We actually have a whole department that works with them on OSHA activities. We've just hired somebody to bring in as a food safety specialist. We spend a tremendous amount of time with growers on their irrigation activities. Underground tape, a lot of times growers have problems with their underground tape. It's new for people. They don't know how to do it. You're going from furrow irrigated to irrigation in a whole nother way. And that's foreign to them, and so a lot of times it creates messes. Going from a well activity, water supplied by wells, to just availability of canal water now it causes a tremendous amount of problems when you try to put that through an irrigation system that really needs very clean water. So anyway, it's been fascinating to do. We're looking for activities with growers that are going to help them stay in business long term, because this regulatory environment is just so difficult. We have about 1,500 growers in total, and I think about 250 of those we actually work with them on all their OSHA stuff, tailgate activities where we go out and do training in the middle of the night. It's fascinating what you have to do. When somebody's employing 800 or 1,000 people, and they need to educate those people on how best to go about food safety activities. So anyway, it's been kind of fun in some respects, but in many respects it's very, very frustrating. It's just like you're trying to fight a fire using gasoline all the time. So.
All right. Well, Greg, I thank you for joining us today and being our guest and giving us some insights into your business in California's ag market. I'm Eric Sfiligoj. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again real soon.
Thank you to this week's video sponsor, Nutrisphere N Fertilizer Manager from Verdesian Life Sciences.